Guys, what's up? Welcome in to another episode of Muscle Matters. I am your host, Blake Bernard, with the lovely Steve Southers. And tonight we're going to be talking about things you can do outside of the gym to keep the gains rolling. Most people listening to the show just want to get jacked, strong, and lose excess body fat. So stay tuned.
So the premise of this show is so how you can wear hoochie daddy shorts year round, right? Like show off thighs, right? Oh, I just want to make sure because
I just have to be really careful what inseam I choose for Tuesday nights because it's crotch shot city around here, dude.
When I put on the 5 inches and I come in, I look at the camera, I'm like, oh, I should have worn longer shorts.
Tell me why Mike set up this third camera and immediately tilts it down. Was that weird?
Well, you know what? What's weird is when I found out that I had a special page on a gay website that had conversations about me. Yes, that was really weird. Be careful when you Google your name.
You were the thread?
Yes. It was it was on Google, and I looked up and I was like, oh, there's a thread about
Did it start with, I saw a monster of a man today?
No, I couldn't get in there because I had to join.
I couldn't guess his ethnicity, but I was intrigued.
I was like, well, I guess I could officially consider myself good looking if there's a thread about me.
Fair enough. The internet's a wild place.
Yes.
Well, Steve's milkshake brought you to the yard tonight. Hey, listen, guys. Tonight we wanted to talk a little bit about how you can keep the gains rolling outside of the gym to make sure that your efforts are multiplied, okay? Because obviously you only train for like an hour out of the day. What you do the other 23 hours of the day matters. I get asked this question a lot by our adults and fitness enthusiasts at Grindhouse. It's one of my favorite questions. Before we get to my answers, because I freaking spew this all day, what do you say, man, to someone who wants to be jacked, tan, and lose excess body fat?
Everything I'm going to say is the obvious. Well, it's
because it works.
We talked about it a million times. Top of the food chain is sleep. You have to sleep. So that's the top of the food chain. From there is food. Now, what I normally tell people is when I have this conversation, especially when it comes to food, we call it meal prepping. And basically what a meal prep is preparing for the next day. So you know that there's only one meal that's for the gym, and that's your meal pre-meal. There's the next meal is for recovery. Every meal after that is for tomorrow's workout. So if you're not refueling your car to actually have a full tank of gas, you're not going to be able to perform in the gym. That's my two main components when I talk to people is food and sleep. Stan Efferton says all the time, if you don't get your proper amount of sleep, you're stepping over nickels for dollars.
One of my favorite sayings, man.
And one of the things about sleep, most people do not sleep, especially if you're in this lifestyle, especially if you're a male in this lifestyle, and the lifestyle being muscles. Muscles are what you want to have. Most people that have muscle, you have sleep apnea. There is no other way around.
Hold on. Oh, I know a lot of people with muscle that don't have sleep apnea. There's a threshold.
I will go down that rabbit hole with you, and you will go, oh.
Qualify that for me. I started getting that. It's like clockwork. Anytime I get over 250 pounds,
yes,
it hits.
Yes.
But a lot of people aren't 250 pounds.
And what it is, it's like if you have a smaller frame, and if you say you have the smaller frame and you put on 60 pounds of muscles, you may not be over 225 pounds.
Sure.
But the amount of mass that's going to be on your chest when you lay down is going to weigh you down. So what's the first thing you do when you can't breathe? Because this is, you're laying on your back.
Yeah, and your tongue weighs a lot too when you gain weight.
You turn to your side.
Yeah.
And so now you're sleeping on your side. So now that I'm sleeping on the side, I spend the next my whole gym session doing this because my shoulder hurts. Man, coach, my shoulder's killing me, coach. My shoulder's killing me. Stop sleeping on your side.
Okay.
So just by simply not being able to get into the relaxing position, because believe it or not, the death position is the relaxed position. You lay like this, you're completely out like a light. Everything works, blood pressure works, the waist pulls back from the feet back to the heart. Everything's working because you're not constricted into a little ball.
Yeah. Not like when we're babies. Like
Oh.
you don't have a flat backside of your head, dude.
No,
You see that billboard?
I'm
I fixed
spoiled.
my flat. That's my
I-
favorite, bro.
I was spoiled as a child. Nobody let me sit down. I was if you see pictures of me, I look like the Michelin Goodyear blimp. I was well fed. I cried. I got ate.
love it, dude.
Yes. My mom, actually, the funny story is my mom put hot sauce on her breast so I would stop breastfeeding. I love hot sauce to
I was
this
going to
day.
say, did that stop you or did it encourage you?
Well-fed baby. So sleep is one of the most important things. So you got to make sure your sleep is done right.
Mhm.
And if you have any sort of, if you believe that you have a lot of muscle and you have muscle on you, you should probably make an appointment with a sleep clinic. I got a good friend that owns a sleep clinic, and that's a shameless plug. So if you have a question about it, I can set you up with somebody. But you have to be able to sleep. If you're not sleeping, if you're sleeping 4 hours so you can get up and do an hour of cardio in the morning because you're wanting to burn body fat.
Right.
Once again, you're not letting your body get optimal rest to recover. So now you're in cortisol. Explain what cortisol does to their bodies.
Well, it's a survival mechanism. So it does great things for you when you're running away from bears and, like sleeping in a cave and maybe on abandoned on a deserted island, desert island, I think is what
I
it's
don't know,
pronounced.
something like that.
I think I learned I
You put
lost.
too many S's in there, I get hungry.
So essentially, cortisol, guys, it's going to preserve body fat. And so with elevated levels of cortisol, your body thinks you're dying. It's like, I got to preserve this energy, these calories. I'm going to need it to escape harm, right? The problem is you're not running from a bear. You're not sleeping in a cave on a desert island. And so it gets stored as fat, right? Ultimately, you stay in a chronic state of stress. That cortisol stays elevated all the time. And guess what you hang on to?
Stubborn. So when you can't figure out why you can't get rid of the stubborn part of your fat, it's going to fall back a lot of times to lack of sleep.
Mm-hmm. And what's great, okay, not everyone is a super heavyweight power lifter or a 350-pound bodybuilder in the off season, right? But I think that what you touched on was maybe just the importance of not just the hours you get, but restful sleep, like actually getting into REM sleep. We know that you have to stay asleep for a certain amount of time to even enter into those. And that's where the magic happens. But if you're just staying surface level all the time, you can never go into those deep waters that are of consequence in any way, form, or fashion.
When I got my first sleep test done, and it was my buddy that did it for me, and I knew I had sleep apnea because I've told you the story before. When Reggie White died, I went, "Oh my God, that's me." So I knew I had all these symptoms. When he did my test, as you said, you can't get to REM. He said in my test, I never got to REM because during my test, my snoring made me mad. He said I would swing in my sleep and shake because every time I snored, I would, excuse my verbiage, piss myself off and shake and move. He said, so no matter what.
Subconsciously, you probably thought you were being suffocated.
So I would never make REM. I would have these weird dreams at night where I was fighting, couldn't win the fight. I was running, I couldn't escape. I never had any falling dreams. That would have sucked. But I would have these dreams where I'm this alpha male, quote unquote, and I'm losing my battles in my dream. And so I'd wake up and my heart would be beating. Wow, that was a crazy dream. Not realizing that your body has a fight or flight mechanism. Yeah. And so my body was fighting to tell me to wake up.
And it doesn't just shut off immediately.
No, because then you're laying there trying to get a drink of water, trying to breathe a little bit like, whoa, that was crazy. So once I started competing and I got my sleep apnea machine, life became great. I mean, it's night and day once you get used to a sleep apnea machine. I'm not going to continue to preach about that. But I sleep like a princess. I have.
You look like one too.
Oh man, I put in earplugs. I've got a little eye shade. Oh, I sleep like a princess. One of the biggest arguments me and my girl have is the amount of pillows I have, because I will rotate pillows throughout the night.
Oh, you're the pillow guy.
Yes, because once this big rock of a head has crushed one pillow down and I flipped it twice, I'm done with it. I need to get my other one to replace it.
Are you a Cal King guy or just a king?
I was a Cal King guy.
Okay.
What happened? Just took up too much space. It was
His memorabilia purchasing habits wouldn't die with the size of his bed.
there was no room for my shoes anymore.
Fair enough. I love what you're wearing tonight, by the way, dude.
Yes. Oh man, I
With
was.
Kanye acting crazy, you just had to bring out the Yeezys or what?
Oh man, the Yeezys are just comfortable.
Yeah, I know.
I was not a Yeezy fan because they were overpriced. But once they fired Kanye, and I'm sorry, Mr. Kanye, that you're not getting your money. But once they fired you and your shoes got cheap,
I don't really go to apples anymore. Love my bananas. I have like my set fruit that I love.
yes,
And I know that if I stick to those, I'll stay lean year
Yes.
round. Now, the current version of Blake that you see is not fruit Blake. Okay, I'm gonna be first. This is Cheesecake Factory Blake. Okay, but beyond that,
cheesecake tastes like abs can go jump in a trash can.
say that one more time.
Cheesecake tastes like abs can go jump in a trash can on fire
Oh my gosh.
with dog poop.
No, this is true. So, long story short, fueling for that training, like it's going to 10x what you do. And going back to like what I said, just common sense, guys. If you train for an hour, hour and a half a day tops, hopefully you don't your whole social life is not the gym, I would hope. Sorry, Steve.
It's okay. I don't have a life.
I really want to make sure that what I'm doing the other 23 hours of the day is conducive to the ultimate goal. Otherwise, I'm just spinning my wheels, right? So the best thing I can do is enhance my recovery, because we know that abs are not made while you're training; they're made while you're
They're in the kitchen 100%.
in sleep.
You can do a million sit-ups, but those donuts are going to keep it from being seen.
That's right. Now let's get to the fun stuff, because people hear us rant about sleep and nutrition all the time.
Before we jump away, hydration.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Hydration.
that's a good one.
And it's a real simple one. You should, if you're into athletics, working out, anything that requires your body to sweat, you should be drinking at least a gallon of water a day.
What do you think about electrolyte supplements? I love them, but I want to know.
Your muscles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, understand, guys, the electricity flowing through well, there's a reason why your body's made of 80% water, right? So those electric currents, they get sent from your central nervous system, your spinal column, to your muscles and tell them what to do. They run more efficiently. The highway is broadened, so to speak, with more lanes, more like a Atlanta highway, maybe not like a congested LA highway, and you're going to be more athletic, probably see greater power outputs. We know now there's a ton of research to show that just being a hair dehydrated, not falling out sick dehydrated, a hair dehydrated below normal levels, you'll see power drop off up to 40%.
Fatigue. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. I like to tell my clients while the shower's warming up, 25, stand on your tiptoes 25 times forward, stand on your tippy toes 25 times with your toes pointed in, stand on your tippy toes.
Calf raises.
Yes.
Calf raises.
And
Yes.
you're standing up on your tippy toes 25 times, so 75 in total, while you're waiting for your water to bend. Abs, we always do, there's a lot of different ab routines that you just don't have time to do, like twist, standing there waiting for the shower, twist in a circle 100 times.
Yeah.
How hard is that? Side bends. You don't need weights to side bend. You just squeeze one side and you go down, squeeze the other side, go up.
I always tell people, you can do more, even if you have a coach, even if you have a trainer, right, that you pay good money to give you a routine 3 days of the week. You should still find ways to be active on the other 4. So obviously we're talking about body weight stuff that you can do at home. All right. I love finding ways to shove I gotta ask, were you born with big calves?
It's genetics.
You got high calves, but were they big?
I was genetic.
Okay, understood.
Now I went out and got them.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they went out and got them. I used to wear the jump shoes, and I used to, that's where I was going with. Do actually what they said to do, all the explosive moves.
training,
I just walked around in them. I would just put them on and I just spend the day at home walking around with them, walking up and down the stairs. It was just, I was in them.
But you're saying that wasn't the key to your success?
No, I was just born naturally with them. But I did put in work, and at one time they were up around 22.5 inches. They were huge.
Goodness sakes,
yes,
man.
They were huge.
What are your arms at right now?
Skinny. I'm skinny now. At one time they were at 23 and some
That's
change.
cruel what you're saying right now.
Yes.
Man. Okay. Well, anyways, back to bodyweight workouts. So calves, okay, great place to shove more volume. Hamstrings, okay, nobody trains their hamstrings hard enough. All right.
Once again, because we put them at the back end.
100%. Upper back. Are you seeing a theme here? It's all your backside. Triceps. All right. And then I would say the smaller body parts, right? So like shoulders.
Especially rear delts.
Yeah, rear delts especially. Those are the things you can shove a lot of extra volume into and be perfectly fine. Think about it like this. They're your go muscles. The only go muscle I would be cautious with is lower back because it's involved in everything
Yes.
you do in the gym.
Yes.
So unless you want to feel beat up on your next deadlift day, wouldn't suggest it.
Yes.
I would load up everything else. And I say train at home like you lived on a farm.
Oh, have you ever seen that guy that's on IG? I'm just gonna jack the whole thing. He never shows his face.
Yes.
And he like walks around.
Oh, dude, I followed that guy for 10 years.
Walks around with whole cars in his arms.
It's Tom Haviland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, there's we fall in love with the gym, and the gym is more fun than home training. But yeah, simple things. What's that thing we did in football? You had to put your hands out to the side, small circles to the front, small circles to the back. You do about 50 of those twice, your shoulders are going to be on fire. That's going to help develop those smaller muscles. Basketball players, they don't really lift weights, but have you ever seen a basketball player's shoulders?
Right.
They're absolutely fired because they spend hours upon hours with their hands here, their hands here, and their hands here. Simple.
Yeah. It's so true. I love all of that stuff, but I'm looking for ways to give my people work that's going to make them breathe hard, sweat, and that they can recover easily from. So I love body weight because then it gets simpler than that,
Yes.
right? I don't know a lot of people are going to do body weight till they puke. I've never seen that happen. You know what I mean? It'll burn, but you'll live, I think that my favorite though, and what I'm really looking forward to living in a different, probably more beautiful part of the country is rucking. Like all the walking with weight, you know what I mean? For me in Bakersfield right now, that's sled drags. You know what I mean? How can I get my cardio and my vitamin D and go experience what the Lord made for me? You know what I mean?
When Lord had the gate up outside during the COVID and the alley was blocked off, I lived on that sled. I loved the sled. It was awesome. Now that the gate's not blocked off, I don't go back there because I don't feel like getting ran over with a car. But it was great fun. I love the sled. It's a great way to hit.
Like the Prowler or like a drag sled?
Drag sled, pull
Gotcha.
sled, the whole 9 yards.
Well, the push sled or a drag sled?
Yes, both. I used them both.
Oh, okay.
The Lord had them all.
Yeah.
So I would love to go outside and be like, all right, cool. Let me load some weight on here and pretend I'm playing football again.
Right.
And then put the other one around my waist and go, I'm going to pretend like I'm running track again.
My split through the year kind of changes now. Sprinting is still really important to me. I don't want to ever lose the ability to sprint. I participated in Kern County's rugby team about a year, 2 years ago. I was pulled out for business reasons, but when I got out there, I realized I hadn't sprinted since college football, and I had forgotten how to do it. I felt like you look, you know what I mean? It was terrible. And so long story short, I never want to lose that or feel that way ever again. So I sprint regularly during the week. But one way I switch things up is I'll do my lower, upper, and then either a sprint day or I call it a human day. And we just do things that apes would do.
Yeah,
it's like crawls, climbs, freaking pull-ups, carries. Like, how would a Cro-Magnon
I
train, you know what I mean?
think that is awesome. Like you said, you train athletes, and if an athlete loses the ability to move, so it's fundamental to be able to move. Ah, man, I remember it's funny you say that. I remember when I went back to playing semi-pro football, and we played in LA, and we played on the field in Irvine. It's the same field that they have at the combine.
Like UCI? Where'd you play?
I forget the name, but it was Irvine, but it's the same field. And little rubber pellets were flying everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And I was moving. I was like, woo. And then my hamstrings in about the second quarter went, no, bro, we haven't done this
Yeah, if you've never
long time.
If you've never practiced on turf, or maybe you're just on real grass for a long time, and then you get that tackiness, like, and the shorter it is, it's like cement. It's like asphalt would be more forgiving than turf. You know, that's tough on the body, man. But yeah, I mean, when I'm talking about extra stuff, sprinting's a very hard movement, but I don't know enough people that do it in their 30s, 40s, 50s. So that might be something you can throw in. I will say this pro tip: start on hills, because it's going to slow you down to where you don't pull a hamstring. You know, you won't be able to go as hard, and it's still going to be tough. You're going to get everything you want out of it, but you can gradually bump the incline down until it's flat ground. You won't pull anything, most likely. So, this is not a doctor's advice.
The Lord has that sprinting, that natural one that's that the curve.
Oh yeah,
I look at the thing all the time, and my lower body goes, I wish you would.
I would pay money to see it, dude.
So would I.
Let me know. I will be there. I will be there.
I just might make a TikTok of that. And then 200. You've got Arnold swinging this sword around. You're like, oh, I could do that. Then you find out in real life that sword's about 100 pounds.
Well, when David goes back to the monastery or whatever that he ended up, he's fleeing from Saul, and he's like, "Do you have anything here for me? Food, whatever?" They're like, "Sure, here's food. You want this sword that belonged to Goliath?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll take that too." I'm just thinking of how out of place that must have been. And I don't know, was he
dragging around an 8-foot sword?
Oh God, yeah, that's not inconspicuous at all. But anyways, so guys, hey, extra volume and where to put it. Okay, here's where we're going to start. Make sure the volume first goes to volume of sleep, quality of sleep, volume and quantity of nutrition. All right. And then if you're going to do extra training, make sure you don't piss off your coach. Make sure that you are forcing that volume into the areas of your body that can recover easily and are probably lagging areas to begin with. For most people, hey, start with the backside. Be careful with the lower back.
Before we stop, I want to mention one more thing. I'm going to go to the sleep thing. Invest in a good bed. Invest in a good bed.
This is relevant.
That was one of the things that as I got older and I understood a good bed. I sleep on a memory foam personally. And since I switched to memory foam, no other bed works.
Topper? Are you team topper or no topper?
Oh, I have a topper as on the bottom of my memory foam. I am
on the bottom.
Yes, I put it on the bottom, so now it adds a little more cushion.
No. You put the topper on the top. It's in the name.
No, but I have it at the top, but it works better at the bottom. It's called the bottomer.
That was Steve's stage name, actually, the bottomer.
You can find that on that webpage.
That's right. Guess what this guy's name is? Okay. Guys, hey, for more training tips, all right, follow Steve Southers. Steve, where they can find you?
Well, I'm located at Sportline West. And since last week you said they had to come by and see me, we actually have an Instagram page. And I've got this other page that I goof off on TikTok called Silverback Batman. But you can find Sportline West or Silverback Batman.
And guys, as always, you can find me at Blake Bernard Coaching on Instagram. Hey, tonight was an awesome one. Next week will be even better. Same time, same place, all live from here on. Now, I don't know what I was going to say. I just goofed on live. You want to close us out?
It's all right. It's Hoochie Daddy season. So Short shorts are back. They're still in, fellas. Thighs rule.
All right. Well, I'm
Sun's out,
inspired.
thighs out.
I'm inspired. Guys, see you next week.